Mega Man 2, exactly, I remember it. Completely and utterly busted. Mega Man 2 glitches are some of those classic glitches out there. Ask anyone on the street, I promise they'll tell you to leave immediately. While not as notable as glitches like the Minus World Super Mario Bros., I'm sure you've been well acquainted with glitches throughout video game history. At the very least, you must have heard of at least one glitch from Mega Man. And today, I'll be bringing you some of those iconic glitches from Mega Man 2, ranging from the sparkly screen, or, just completely corrupted worlds. It's a lot to take in, I'm sure, and we've got a good amount to cover as well. So let's not waste any more time and jump and shoot right into these Mega Man 2 glitches. We're going above and beyond for our first glitch, and by above I mean above the ceiling, and by beyond, I think it kind of speaks for itself. We've got a lot of zip glitches that you'll love to see with your eyeballs, but for some of them, maybe not so much to do with your fingers. These zip glitches send you across the screen at blistering speeds, and can even send you to rooms where the carpet doesn't match the collision. All the platform collision gets mixed up and mismatched, making it quite the short across, or in some cases, completely impossible. Not every method to do this makes some wacky result. So to start out tame, our first way to do this glitch takes us to Bubble Man stage. In the underwater room with the crab bots, you'll want to inch towards this edge of the platform and fall. Hold right, and here's where you'll want to pause and unpause in succession. When you unpause in this game, Mega Man's velocity resets. So if you're holding right when you unpause, you'll start moving right faster than you fall, since you're underwater. So if you continue to pause and unpause quickly, you can move right a good amount, given that you leave enough time for Mega Man to actually move before pausing. Once you drop to the screen below, you'll end up inside the ceiling. So jump, and in some cases all you need to do is press left and Mega Man should fly in the opposite direction. In other cases, however, you'll need to mash left and right because Mega Man can just stop zipping, and pressing left and right continues in the direction he was going? I'm not entirely sure, plus the zip just kinda ends. Doesn't go anywhere, Mega Man just falls from the top of the screen. This variation of the glitch gets a cool rating. But we're not done yet with our zips. These next methods involve item 1 and 3 are definitely the most fun to do out of the zips. The two methods, named ceiling zip and wall zip, are gonna be our focus for now. To do a ceiling zip, just put an item 1 or 3 under the wall you'll be zipping into. The entire left half of the item must be left of the wall above, also placed low enough so that Mega Man can stand on it. Mega Man's gotta be completely on the right half of the wall, and he needs to be facing right before you enter the ceiling. When he's fully in the ceiling, press the jump button, and about 4 frames later, hold left. Once you let go of left, Mega Man will go rocketing off to the right. That was ceiling clip, but wall clip is done very similarly. Instead of jumping, press B instead and press left to start the zip. Additionally, during wall zip, you'll need to keep pressing left and right to continue movement. The best place to practice this is in Bubble Man stage, right at this place where we did the first zip. You only have to place one item 1 each attempt, and with the water physics you can just leap up to this platform. But either way you zip, there's a few other stages where you can try this out for some neat level breakage. Like for example with Crash Man stage. The very second screen of this stage has a perfect spot for zipping. To get there, it's a specific setup that makes this much simpler. Stand on this edge here, throw in item 1, jump on it, and get on the right edge facing right. Once you're in the ceiling, do the wall zip inputs and you'll go flying, but actually wrap around the screen. You should fall at some point, but there's an invisible ladder that you can climb to get to the next room. While the screen transitions, for a fraction of a second you can see the room that's supposed to be loaded. At this point, collision is goofed up yet again, but the ladders are where they were in that brief snapshot of the stage. Just try your best to navigate and climb the invisible ladders, it's actually kind of fun. But once you reach the sky, there's nowhere left to go but down. You're soft locked here unless you get Mega Man to die, which thankfully this room is a checkpoint area, fixing the stage and letting you play normally. You can also do a ceiling zip in Quick Man stage, which is substantially harder. If you manage to get the zip, you'll be sent past the darkness area, where you can descend into the falling room. Except that the collision isn't the same, so it's really unbeatable unless you have the time stopper weapon. These are just a few examples of zip glitches, but there's plenty more for you to try out yourself. I'll be granting this glitch a difficulty rating of spicy. Now I'm sure out of the 3 people watching this who's ever played Mega Man 2, you have an absolute obsession over the robot master powers in this game. In that case, I have 2 recommendations for you. Seek help. Or try this glitch that will allow you to use those powers as much as you'd like, but only for some of them though. You see, certain weapons in this game don't deplete every time they're fired, specifically the Metal Blade and Quick Boomerang, which both take 4 and 8 shots to reduce by 1 energy respectively. Although with this glitch, neither of them will reduce in energy. You see, whenever you pause the game, everything's states seem to reset, including the physics and shot counters of Mega Man. That means you can shoot either of these weapons I mentioned earlier, and before you deplenish in 1 energy, you can reset the shot counter by pausing. When you unpause, you can shoot and shoot until you get close, and repeat the process. This doesn't mean you'll have to keep track of how many shots you take, which can be a little difficult if you don't know how to count. Remembering how to pause and unpause when you're in the heat of battle makes this very inconvenient, and admittedly not very worth it in a practical sense. But it's one of those glitches that I recommend trying because it's cool, and just as so in terms of difficulty. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Maybe not for our floating friend, but it would, man. As you can see from our slightly edited display, Woodman turned himself into a Jumpman, without the intention to come back down. Of course, this isn't by his doing. As I said during the previous glitch, whenever you pause the game, everything's states seem to reset, and that's also the case with the physics for Woodman. When he jumps, the in-game variable that tells whether or not he's jumped is set, but when you pause the game, that variable gets cleared. So, after you unpause, the game thinks he hasn't already jumped like he needs to, and he'll jump, whether or not he's on the ground. So, all this means is that as long as you can pause, and while he's in the air, you can make him stay there. The only thing to watch out for is that he usually jumps after sending that leaf attack through the air, and if you get hit by it, you won't be able to pause until the knockback is done, which by then will have landed on the ground. Other than that, it's a very amusing oversight, and one just as simple. I'll be giving it a cool difficulty rating.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
Except that Mega Man isn't really dying here. Or is he? Yes, he's got the death particles going on, but once the victory team's done playing, he's out of here. So what's the deal? What's the takeaway? Why is this Mega Man not dying anyway? Well, while it's true that Mega Man did die, this glitch, the simultaneous death glitch, saves him from certain doom and instead makes things feel very awkward. Besides that though, it's not too crazy to pull off, and the best way to do this is to start on Bubbleman's stage. This can be done with any of the Robot Masters, but I find the easiest and most straightforward way to do this is with Bubbleman, who's got an attack that shoots in a straight line. So anyways, make your way through the stage, collecting as many extra lives as you can, because you might need them. When you're at the boss, lower his health down to 1 hit, and get yours down to 1 hit as well. Avoid any attacks that aren't Bubbleman's straight shot, and when he launches it, right before it hits and kills you, shoot at him. If you timed it right, you should start the death animation, but when your pellet hits him and activates a victory fanfare, you'll still be alive, just surrounded by the particles. It's a minor glitch, sure, but it's got a bit of spice to it, on account of its quick draw way of pulling it off. I'll be giving this glitch a difficulty rating of mild. Very interesting looking enemy here. It doesn't hurt Mega Man and it's covered in invisible solid walls. And look at this one here, it's missing a few pieces. Doesn't hurt either. And this one kinda looks like a bit of a pickle. I'm sure it doesn't hurt. Okay, right here we've got the enemy freezing glitch, which I don't think is much of a glitch, but I'm still adding it to the video because I think it's neat anyways. So if you've not played this game before, one of the Robot Master weapons that you get access to is granted by Flashman. The weapon, Time Stopper, does exactly what it says on the tin. All enemies on screen can no longer move, and for approximately 9 seconds, you're free to move around the world stop time. Anyways, there are certain enemies in this game that when you encounter them, they aren't initially on screen and active. Regular enemies like these bubble bats are active as soon as their sprites appear, but enemies like the Friender and Mecha Dragon have a few frames of warping animation before they can actually land on screen. If you can time it within that small duration, you can actually freeze the enemy in place during this entrance animation. In the case of our hot dog friend, while he's teleporting in, he's still solid, but he can't hurt you. Although for Mecha Dragon, while he's not real, he can hurt you. This game doesn't have that many enemies, and I believe those are the only 2 in the game that have that behavior. Besides that, on the topic of difficulty ratings, I'll be giving this glitch a cool rating. Leaf Shield, oh Leaf Shield, you gotta love the sound. It's useful as a shield, but man is the sound grating. So now that means it's time for me to show you a small glitch where you cannot turn off that sound specifically. Look, I gotta do something with this footage, y'all. In a similar fashion to the glitches that came before, this is another super duper simple glitch that you can pull off. Just go to any Robot Master fighter you're choosing. I recommend Airman since his weakness is Leaf Shield. Just lower the boss's health to a last hit scenario, and have your Leaf Shield out, but don't launch it. You'll want the boss to move at your Leaf Shield, which will cause the boss to get destroyed but your shield to remain. The sound too will continue, but without the audio on, it's actually rather unremarkable. But with it on, it does stop, but then it makes sure that you didn't miss it the first time. Other than this being pretty mundane, this glitch gets a difficulty rating of cool. We started off with a glitch using item 1, and now we're here with another item 1 glitch, although that name doesn't even begin to describe the insanity that will occur. We'll be taking stages that you're familiar with, and then completely scrambling the tiles, all with this one item. To do this glitch, make sure you have either item 1 or item 3, and you'll want to head over to any of the first Robot Master boss fights. We'll start off with Airman, because he's the easiest. Once you enter the boss fight, you'll need to go back to the boss store, which is admittedly normally completely impossible. The only way to do that is to have enough lag for the game to screw up collision and trigger the door loading. But thankfully, Airman blasts out tons of lag, so just plop an item 1 next to the door right before he launches his air shooter, and wait on top of it. Once he starts blasting, the game should lag considerably, and if you're not already through, shoot more item 1s out if you can. If whatever random thing that the lag decided means that you were entering the room, the screen will begin a transition. And I should emphasize, it's kinda random. Even with enough lag, there's no guarantee that it'll activate, but if it did, you should be sent to a stage with the layout of Wily's Castle 2, but with the tile set of Airman's stage. Airman will also be active in trying to kill you, but besides that, it's a very messy version of Wily too. But this can be done with other robot masters as well. I've gotten this to work with Bubble Man, which takes you to Wily's Castle 4. Crash Man, which surprisingly takes you to a version of the title screen, Heat Man, using item 3, which took me to Wily Castle 1 where I could do a fair bit of exploring, and Wood Man, which took me to Wily Castle 3. This is also possible with Quick Man and Flash Man, which take you to Wily Castle 5 and 6 respectively, but I couldn't get it to happen for me unfortunately. I know I went through that pretty quick, and while this glitch was incredibly straightforward, even with the use of save states and whatnot, this glitch was very random and very difficult in some cases. As easiest, it's spicy, but as its hardest, it's caliente.